Genji, we're recording now, please. Like, he doesn't realise we're recording.
That's fine. He can make noise.
He can be our intern's back.
And he's very simple-minded, and we keep him in the basement.
Yeah, I know. Except for these occasions where he comes out.
Serve food and play Tricky Towers in the background.
Yeah, he loves... Well, he didn't bring his FIFA disc with him, so he couldn't play FIFA. Oh. Anyways, we're recording?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't...
Yeah, you don't know when we're recording.
I do know. I see the red light, but I just want to double check. Just in case we're not. Imagine if we spoke for like 5 hours. Not 5 hours, like an hour. And
That's
then
unlikely.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh shit. We didn't get any of it.
That's all right. The internet wouldn't think any the wiser. They wouldn't know.
Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Well, I don't know, because I'm not very familiar with it,
No,
obviously.
you're not. For once, I'm the expert. Ooh. Today we're going to be talking about...
Linda requested that we do some Japanese stuff.
Yeah, well, because Ren is very, very uninformed about Japanese anime and all that stuff. We're going to be looking at Studio Ghibli films predominantly today because, well, Hayao Miyazaki's kind of semi-retired now. And
he's making something else down there.
That's the thing, though. He's not making it with Studio Ghibli. He's making it as kind of like an independent film.
He was the reason they all went and watched his movies. Their movies, anyway.
Well, look, can I...
He's the main reason.
Yeah, well, can I be really honest with you? Some of his more recent films, I'm a bit like, not
Actually, the one that I've wanted to see the most is The Wind Rises, which was his last one.
That was his... No, but like the one that... There's another one just coming out. It's... I cannot remember what it's called, but something about a witch, and the animation's just very, very like Studio Ghibli.
Okay. So it's nice.
It's nice. I don't know if it's because over the period of the past few years, I feel like the animation's lost its charm, or if the story's not as strong anymore.
Sort of like Pixar, because the stories aren't as good anymore, but the animation's still great.
Yeah, I don't know what it... The animation's always beautiful, though.
Cars 3.
There's a Cars. There's also Planes, which was just
that was
the saddest thing.
That was its own thing, apparently.
That was really sad. Planes was a really sad film.
Did anybody see was it the Lost Dinosaur or something?
No, I didn't see. That's the thing. I wasn't interested.
I didn't give a crap about it.
I know. I don't know why.
I haven't seen Finding Dory either. So.
Finding Dory is okay. Like, I think Finding Dory...
Okay.
I went to watch it because I liked Finding Nemo. But Kill Me Now, I don't think Finding Nemo is my favourite Pixar film. I think Toy Story 1's probably by far my favourite. But we're not talking about that today, Ren.
Yes.
So the films that I recommended to Ren in terms of Studio Ghibli...
Guess how many I've watched?
Like, you have technically only seen one because Grave of the Fireflies wasn't Studio Ghibli.
Wasn't it?
No, it's not Studio Ghibli.
Shows you what I know.
It's
I know
actually...
it wasn't Miyazaki.
I don't think if it was directed by Miyazaki.
It wasn't.
He was a producer, maybe, or he just had a part.
Somebody else.
Yeah, he had a part in it, but he was not the director, and it was not Studio Ghibli.
Out of the 2 movies I've seen linked to this,
I now have to look it up.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay,
the
well...
The Blu-ray I have somewhere has Studio Ghibli on it.
Grave of Fireflies. Or maybe it was Studio Ghibli, but not Miyazaki.
Yeah, it's just not him. Pretty sure that's the case. Love how we opened it up saying this is something that Linda knows about, and then first real fact we get.
It's animated by Studio Ghibli. I'm sorry. I
know that.
Oh, shush. Okay. Okay, so you've seen Grave of the Fireflies and you've seen Princess Mononoke.
Yes.
That is probably the most incorrect way of me pronouncing that film, but who cares?
You know how uncultured I am? I think I watched the English dub.
Oh, God. He's one of those.
I think so. I don't... Actually, the thing is, I can't remember.
The thing is...
I don't think I thought much of it. I don't know why.
I know you...
it was good, but I didn't... I was like... I like Grave of the Fireflies.
You like Grave of the Fireflies.
It's a more effective movie to me. Perhaps I'm just more interested in the subject matter.
Princess Mononoke is okay. I did do a... Funnily enough, I did...
No, I don't think it is. I think it was too long.
I wouldn't say it's too long.
Oh my God, it's still going.
I just think it's not... The thing is, after Spirited Away... So what happened with Spirited Away, they made all this like quirky characters and all this stuff, and they made it more fun. Whereas like if you look at the previous older films, they're very like, you know, really serious, or either like I don't know, like there's not as strong of a Western influence, I feel. Whereas
isn't Spirited Away just Alice in Wonderland?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like they made it more like easier for Westerners to kind of understand and to look into.
Spirited Away won an Academy Award.
Yeah, it was the first animated film to win an Academy.
It broke through.
Yeah, it like I don't know, like broke the world. I don't know.
I should say it ran out for like best. I can't remember if it was best animated film or best foreign film.
It was best animated film.
Yeah,
yeah. Right. It was the first one, and it won so many
Japanese
awards.
Animated film to win.
Yeah. But you haven't seen Spirited Away, so there's not too much point.
You can still talk about it.
I guess, yeah. And
I know that there's like everybody's seen the imagery. Everybody.
It's so.
Everybody knows who My Neighbor Totoro is, which I know I saw that when I was in prep.
Well,
and
the thing is,
remember it.
when I was younger, whenever we have, like rainy days, where, because you're in prep, you're not allowed to go outside in case you fall and die, I don't know. They would always show Kiki's Delivery Service at my school. So that was the first film. I didn't even realize it was Studio Ghibli, and then my friend bought Spirited Away when it first was released on DVD in like the Western world, and I watched that, and then I didn't even realize they were like the same animators or anything like that. But honestly, like I feel like the best two films you can probably watch that would be more entertaining for people who don't have a strong like Japanese film history, like they don't really like Japanese films, is probably Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle. Just because I feel like the art styles and stuff like that are just...
When you say Japanese films, you mean anime though? Not film.
Not film, animated films.
Because nobody likes Japanese film.
Well, our intern, who is half... To be fair, I did Asian...
Half Japanese.
He's half Japanese. He's a halfie. But I did Asian film in my second year.
The other half of him has more interesting film culture.
Yeah. No, but the thing that I realized was non-Japanese, non-animated films in Japan are horrible.
Yeah, they are.
They can't act for shit. And then...
Why should they god awful?
Well, then like, the intern just kind of pops in because, he was just like, well... It's because, like, why do you think there's so much animated film in Japan? Because
that's how they act.
Yeah,
that's how they want it to act.
They can only voice act.
That's the culture there. It's very over the top.
Yeah. But the animation, like, I think it makes more sense for them to do because they have a lot of dramatic stuff happen, and there's very...
Well, half the stuff that they do, you couldn't really do it.
Mimic in real life, unless you made it look really, really satirical.
Well, it's funny because they make live-action versions of their own films, and the live-action versions suck.
Have you seen the live-action version of Attack on Titan?
No, I haven't, but I've heard it sucks. I've even heard all the Death Note ones suck.
Yeah, no. Oh, Death Note's okay. Like, the actor in Death Note, he's actually a very, very popular actor. He's been in quite a few things. He's like he's pretty alright. He's not amazing, but I've seen it, and I'm like, look, I don't hate you, but if I had the choice between you and the animation, I'd probably just watch the animation. I could live without you being in my life. Whereas certain films, like, we were recently watching Assassination Classroom, which is this anime show, and there was a live action version, and I was like, you know what? I could have lived the rest of my life without you existing. But, that's okay. To be fair, we do have, like, we, as, a Western film culture, we have our fair share of really, really horrible...
crap, yeah.
Yeah, we have, Dragon Ball Z Evolution or whatever. Horrible.
Is that not Japanese?
No. Well...
Like Dragon Ball...
Dragon Ball is Japanese, but then we made, like, America or... whoever made a live action version of it.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course, yeah.
You just like ban that from your memory.
That pile of crap. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I didn't think it was a good idea to even make it. Dragon Ball Z is not particularly good when it's animated.
I enjoy Dragon Ball Z. I think it's the most unrealistic. I mean, the only thing less realistic
it's not the
Dragon
realistic
Ball.
aspect of it. It takes 20 years for anything to happen.
There's like a whole 20-minute episodes of just ha 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 ha, like them fighting.
Yeah, and then them looking like they're going to take the biggest shit ever.
Man. Look, I love anime, so, I grew up with that.
I don't mind them
stuff.
being over the top, it's just get to the point.
I know, but it's all about the build-up, Ran. It's all about that build-up, because...
you can build up for too long. Isn't that right, Genji? He just gave me a heil.
I think, but you know what? There is. It's hard to find a nice anime though. Can I just say there's so
nice
many.
One,
no,
one
but
that sits down with you and pats you on the knee.
no. But like, it's hard to find one that is coherent, and then you can actually follow the story, and it's not just.
Cowboy Bebop.
I did watch Cowboy. I never said it wasn't. I said it's hard to find one. I didn't say I couldn't find one. Cowboy Bebop was quite nice. I rewatched Sailor Moon. Look, before I love Sailor Moon, and it's mainly because I grew up with it.
Dragon Ball Z for girls.
But like. But I watched it and I knew how ridiculous it was. But I'm like, you know what? I think that's part of its charm, though. Its charm is that, oh my God, this girl is like 14 years old running around in short skirts in the middle of the night fighting bad guys.
Is she supposed to be 14?
She's 14.
Okay.
Like, it's fucking ridiculous. Half of these, and then Assassination Classroom, spoilers, but is about a class of, I think, middle school, so they're 15, fighting a giant yellow, alien creature who's their teacher. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, it's actually a really good anime. Can I just say, it's very heartwarming, and it plays on like all these ideas, and it's really good. But then I watch it and I can't fathom in my head that these kids are 15 years old going around with fake plastic knives trying to stab this alien creature. Like, they're 15. Mm-hmm. But like, there's just certain tropes. Like, you find that girls are always like, this big or like this type of style or shape or whatever. Mm. And then there's like, age, 12 years old. And you're like, they're not 12 years old. I did not look like that when I was 12. Yeah. I didn't even have all my body parts together. What the fuck?
The leg was in your head, wasn't
it? Yeah. Anyways, let's come back to Studio Ghibli for a bit. Mm-hmm. So Grave Fireflies was your favourite?
Yes, out of the two.
My favourite, I don't know. I'd say I watched Spirited Away, and then someone recommended Howl's Moving Castle. Mm-hmm. And I watched Howl's Moving Castle, and I think the storytelling in Spirited Away was stronger, definitely. Mm-hmm. But you were right, it's pretty much Alice in Wonderland, but Japan. Yep. Whereas Howl's Moving Castle, I enjoyed the characters more, mm-hmm. because they had really quirky characters, and it didn't take itself too seriously. Like, the best thing, my favorite character, funnily enough, is this little dog, and he follows the main character around, and she thinks it's like Howl, who's mm-hmm. the other main protagonist, pretending to be a dog, and it turns out the dog is like, I don't know how to explain this without telling you the story, and then I don't.
Just tell me the story. It's fine.
No, well, it's kind of hard to explain because it's very complicated, which is also another kind of annoying thing I find about certain Japanese films. There's always like so many things going on.
They're overly complicated.
It's so easy to overly complicate it. Like, you can watch the beginning of it, and it'll be like, oh, this is so simple, or like girl likes boy, and the boy doesn't like girl, or she's got magical powers, or he's been bestowed with this ability, and then at the end of the show, literally at the end of the show, you're like, wait, so who's dead and what's going on and what's connected to who, and someone's tricked who and someone's betrayed who. Wait, are you double crossing? Like, it just gets so. That's what I'm saying. It's so hard sometimes just to find a nice, coherent anime that kind of just goes about it. Like, the best example is Sword Art Online, which me and my partner, which is also our intern, were watching. First few episodes were really good. Like, they're trapped in a video game. He's kind of like the black sheep. People don't like him because, he was a beta tester and they weren't, and he has experience and they don't. Mm-hmm. And then people die because of him, and all this stuff happens, and it's really good. And then just one episode in, like, not one say, like 5 episodes in, all of a sudden, like, this girl comes out of nowhere, and they, in a period of a 20-minute episode, they get married, they kiss, they get married, and they decide to have a kid together, or they decide they're going to have children together.
Right.
And you're like, what the fuck is going on? So that's when I stopped watching that. But yeah, like with Howl's Moving Castle, what happens is this young girl, she's not stereotypical, she's not confident in herself, she thinks she's ugly, gets turned into an old lady by this witch, mm-hmm. and then she goes to find this wizard called Howl, mm-hmm. and she pretends to be her, like, she tricks him and says, I'm your new cleaner, blah, 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 is trying to break the spell. And pretty much there's a scene where, like, this little dog, and he's so cute, though, and he always, like, walks around following them. You just have to watch it to find out, Ren. I sound like a crazy person, but he's really cute.
Well, they tell that very... I know that they sort of tell, like, little...
They tell mini
fairy
stories.
tale sort of things.
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah. Well, after that, like... I'm trying to think of the films after. I think they had Ponyo, and they had a lot of other ones, which I didn't really watch too much. They just... I don't think they were strong after Spirited Away. I think Spirited Away was really their peak.
I think the reason why I haven't gotten into it is probably because I didn't really grow up with them.
That's probably
and it's because, like, I mean, there was anime when I was growing up. There was always, you know, the morning ones of, like, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, all that sort of crap. And then you grow out of that, pretty much.
Yeah, not
like,
me.
maybe not you, but I couldn't stand it now. Like, I wouldn't be able to sit through any of it now.
I watch it and I know how ridiculous it is. Like, don't get... I know exactly how stupid Sailor Moon is, because Kenji and I were watching it, and it was just like... She is literally useless. She can't. All the others can attack, and she can't. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But, you know, it's funny. Like, she's a stupid character. She's really stupid. Like, she just goes around, like, crying all the time. And I'm like, but it's funny. It's funny. And I enjoy that feeling of nostalgia, I guess I could say.
I don't know. It's because, to me, it's always this conflict in anime. It's like they're telling a story that's, like, supposed to be adult in an almost childish way. Yeah. And it just always... That part always pulls me out of it. Yeah. So I tried to watch... There's this one, it's like... It was reasonably big, I think in Japan, called Gantz or whatever. Oh, yeah. Which I have seen the anime, and I haven't seen the live action or anything like that, because I just... Sorry. There you go. That's right, cough into the mic.
I didn't cough into the mic. I coughed away from the mic. Please, I'm not that gross. Yeah, anyways.
And it was like, it's... I don't know. It's kind of like watching Power Rangers. But like...
Well, that's what I
feel.
But
I don't know, but like, if Power Rangers was like brutally violent, and it's like, who is this for sometimes? And that's like, and I'm like, it's for Japanese people who get it, but I don't.
I think we want to feel...
I mean, the reason I'll say about Gantz is it's like, it's got an interesting concept of like, the two main kids are like best friends and they're on their way to school and they get run over by a train in a very contrived way, I think. They somehow end up on the tracks, and instead of just trying to climb back onto the platform, they just run down the tracks for some reason, and they've got time, but then they get run over.
It's like really dramatic though.
Yeah, it's overly dramatic.
And you're like... It
takes 20 minutes and then they get run over and they wake up in this room with this ball in it with other people who've died that day, and it's like you have to pass a trial or something like that. And it's always like involving like invisible monsters that nobody else can see because they're dead as well or something. I can't remember the exact plot, but the childish part to me was like, you have lady characters in other movies who are like, you know, you get like Megan Fox and all that sort of stuff in your movie, not because she's a great actress, but because she's, you know,
Megan Fox.
Exactly, somebody that people turn up just to look at. Yeah. But, I mean, it's animated as well. They draw people the way they like.
Have you seen High School of the Dead? No. It's pretty much about like this high school couple.
We're going to save a lot of time if you don't ask me, have you seen...
That's probably true. It's probably going to be a no. But High School of the Dead, look, it's actually a very popular anime, but there's like so many women with just like boobs out to like, you know, the boobs the size of my fucking head, like tits the size of my fucking head. And there's this one scene I have to show you, and it's pretty much like this guy's going to shoot a gun to kill one of, like, it's about zombies and stuff. It's really bizarre. And he like puts it between her boobs as a form of like...
support for it?
Yeah.
To steady his aim?
Yeah, and then he shoots, and as he shoots, the boobs like slow-mo jig. Like, stuff like that happens, and then I'm just like, you're taking the fucking piss
like stuff
now.
In Gantz, I can't remember. I think because her concept of the thing is, I think she gets so depressed she kills herself, and then she ends up in that room. But she was in the bath while she was doing it, so she was naked.
Oh, of course she was.
So, and like, one of the concepts of the whole show is like, this orb opens after it gives them the orders and gives them weapons and like a suit, which is like this black body suit thing. And it's like a whole scene about how I think he has to help her with it or something, and it just goes on and on. And I'm like, why do we have to spend so much time just on this? Like,
I think you haven't found the anime that's for you. I think Cowboy Bebop was good for you because it was a no-nonsense kind of anime, and it just
focused... It's very Western, that one.
It is very
I actually said, like, I think they cast the dub actors really well as well on purpose because they knew it was going to work overseas.
I think you should watch. I've recommended Death Note to you, haven't I?
Yes,
you should
I've seen
definitely.
a few episodes.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. It's a bit light, is a bit crazy though, so I think that's the only part you might be thrown off about how.
I don't mind if
weird
there's
he
like
is.
weird, funny stuff in it. Like you've shown me the potato.
Oh
chip
my
bit.
God! I'll take a potato chip and eat. Oh God, I can't deal with that.
They say things out loud that nobody needs to
hear. Expository. And I think you should also... I know everyone loves Attack on Titan, but I think you should watch because that's also a very no-nonsense show. It does get very complicated in the second season, but it always ties up loose ends. So, and you know what? It actually shows a lot of like character development and all that stuff through time. So I think it's good. I think...
It's funny because I think it's like you watch a lot of anime and I watch a lot of like...
Not
live
anime.
action. No, but like live action like Western shows.
Yeah.
So
I'm
like,
Chinese, man.
I've been recently watching like Vikings.
Yeah.
And like Game of Thrones, obviously.
I've been avoiding Game of Thrones. You know what's really funny? I started watching House as well today. And I was like, I should probably watch Game of Thrones because if I don't, people might kill me because everyone wants to talk to me about it and everyone wants my opinion. And I'm just like, I haven't seen it. Don't kill me. I'm sorry.
How much of it did you see? Because I know you've watched some of it. Like,
I saw up to the point
actually,
where...
a decent chunk of it was a while ago.
Yeah, I saw up to where Sansa Stark, like, was going to get married to...
Ramsay.
Yeah, that's pretty much the last part I remember. I hope I didn't ruin that for anyone. Yeah, so I'm 2 seasons behind.
2 seasons behind. But you probably need to go back and, like...
Can you grab the light, please? Or is it next... Oh, it's next to you. Shit.
But it's like you probably need to, like...
Go back and rewatch.
Go back a bit.
The thing is, what happens, I watched up to season 6, and then, like, that's actually the last time, like, the season ended. I remember I was like, what, 19? How old was
probably.
I? 18, 19? Yeah. And then I was, like, thinking, okay, well, I'll just wait for next year. And then next year came, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to wait for the whole season to end, and then I'm going to watch the whole season together. And then I kind of got through half of it, and, like, I didn't really finish it. And then I just thought to myself, oh, you know, maybe I'll just wait for the whole thing to end, and I'll watch it all in one big chunk.
You should watch all of it between now and when the first episode of last season ends. It starts next year.
Yeah,
so you can be up to date for the last season.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to do... It's so hard to avoid spoilers, though.
So you probably know half the shit that's happened this season anyway.
Yeah. Well, no, don't tell me. I know there's this one meme going around where it's like Shrek and the scene between Donkey and the dragon, and then the scene between Jon Snow and one of the dragons. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. Ren, we're talking about anime. So the podcast is about anime. Did you ever watch Tokyo Ghoul? I tried. You tried. You didn't enjoy it.
No, and that's the other thing as well. I find there's a lot of anime that like they start something,
they don't end it,
and then they don't continue on with it at all. Because the start of Tokyo Ghoul, it's like one guy, one main guy, and he does. I can't remember the plot. Like I can't actually remember what it. But there's like a plot happening, and then it just goes off on tangents for every episode after that.
Okay, can I just say? So you know One Piece. Everyone's heard of One Piece.
I have, yes.
It's like 700 episodes in, and the first plot that they had was literally there are some pirates going to find One Piece, and it just tangents from there. And I think that's how they keep it going. But I said something that really bothered me was not just this isn't just for anime. This is just for television shows and certain franchises in general that they keep building on top of the original rather than starting something new. And like, let's say Yu-Gi-Oh. Because you remember the original Yu-Gi-Oh was like back, what? Can I say almost 10 years ago?
Feel like, yeah.
Feels like 10 years
probably
ago.
More.
Probably, yeah. And like, you know, and then there's been Yu-Gi-Oh!
5,400,000.
GX, I think. And then
I haven't got a clue.
There's just been so many other different, like, kind of generations afterwards.
The only one I remember is the first one.
I remember the first and I remember the second one because my friend was watching the second one.
I think I was watching the second one when I was a kid and then I stopped.
Yeah, well then the thing is I said to them it's because like they want to build upon like the original franchise.
About Yu-Gi-Oh! As well is it's like
it's a card game.
No, but that's what I mean. Like the show's almost an ad for the card game.
Yeah,
so that's kind of the point.
Well, the thing is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game is actually derived from like a different. Wow, it's raining a lot. Is derived from a different. I think it's called like Magic.
Yeah, Magic
and Gathering. Yeah, something like that. So
there's a lot of card games like it.
is this
now.
like, I think they were like, oh, this is for adults, so let's simplify it for kids as well, and we can make more money, I guess.
I mean,
Wow, it's very,
when
very
adults
rain.
play it anyway.
Yeah. Mucho rain.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of
Okay,
that
well, apart from
water around. Bloody hell.
we should wait for that.
The White Walkers are coming. God. It's quite heavy.
It is quite heavy. It doesn't help that I think you have a tin. A metal door,
Tin roof.
a tin roof as well. Yeah, it doesn't help that you have
That's
that.
why. There's a tin roof outside this roof. So there's a ceiling in here.
Yes,
And
it's
there's
not
space.
just tin out the top.
Yeah. That would be really noisy.
You know, it was really sunny this morning.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, Melbourne. Oh.
You know what's funny though? Because we're talking about this plot's not
Yeah.
continuing or something like that.
Yeah.
One thing that I find interesting about Game of Thrones is that I would expect people would need more reminders
I would.
of
I always forget.
of some of the
I always forget.
background to it
Yeah.
to understand what's going on, especially now in the story
Yeah.
and why it's significant. Because
You're pretty balls deep in there.
me, yes,
Yes, you. Not me.
like I haven't read all the books and stuff, but I've read enough
Yeah.
around it as well to know why these things, and like, you know, all the people speculating about what's going to happen next. And I was just like, you know, that's, and I don't know how you'd necessarily, if you just watched the show, you didn't read anything else. I
Doubt you'd remember.
I don't know. I think it depends on
Ooh.
who you are.
Can I just say, I'm watching this show called Black Butler, as I was saying, and you know, it's pretty much, long story short, about this one kid who, on his, I think, 10th birthday, his parents were murdered in a huge fire. He's really rich. He's like,
Batman.
no, it's actually very Batman-esque if you think about it, just except with demons and everything. So yeah, Batman. But what happened is, so his parents perish in a fire. He's rich. He's like this lord or something. His parents are a lord. And so his parents pass away and he gets sold to a covenant, and he's almost used as a human sacrifice.
Okay.
Except just as he's about to be killed, he calls out, he's so like upset and so angry about these people that he calls out a demon, and they make a contract. And pretty much the contract states that you help me get revenge, you are loyal to me, you know, you will only serve me, and once I get my revenge, and once I find, pretty much wants to find who murdered his parents, and you know, all this other stuff, once all that's done, you can eat my soul.
So making a deal with the devil. Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
pretty much that idea.
Yeah.
The first, like, I've watched maybe the first 7 episodes. All of them are just completely unrelated. They always talk about this revenge story, and then the whole episode
They're
itself.
going to get to it in 200 episodes.
Yeah, well, I think it's maybe 30, 40 there's a few seasons. I think there's 3 or 4 seasons.
I think they kind of do what. It's kind of like, you know, House.
Yeah.
House is like, they sell you the concept up first.
Yeah.
Of like this Doctor Who's pretty much Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And then
Later on.
it's like
Here's-
many seasons down the track, something's going to pay off to finish the show.
Yeah. Well, that's
It's
the
like
thing.
any of like the comedy
Yeah.
series that are supposed to last a long time.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
if you
in
think
Friends, who will they marry?
I know you don't like Big Bang Theory, but when it started off, it was like pretty decent.
Yeah, it just got dumber and
It got
dumber
weird.
and dumber
It
and
got a
dumber.
bit weird. I only watch it now because I'm
they
invested.
now they just say names of things, and then the audience laughs, and you go, is there a joke in there?
Well, I
or
think
is
it's
that-
more of they've built up this, like, I'm funny, so whenever I say things in a certain
Yeah,
way,
they're
it's going to
not,
be
though.
funny. I know, but that's not the point. That's that's the
And
trick.
like, if you read that on a script, you wouldn't go, oh, that's going to be
I think
funny.
but
You'd
that's
go,
the trick, Ran. What are you going to do? It's the trick.
imagine reading a Ghostbusters script,
Oh my gosh.
because it doesn't have anything on it,
Oh my god.
because they improvised the whole movie.
Stop it. Okay, well,
Not the 80s one, not the good one.
the new one.
The new pile of crap.
Well, okay, well, why don't we talk about... So, apart from Cowboy Bebop, what other anime shows have you watched, or animated films have you watched that you possibly liked? Apart from, like, Cowboy Bebop and Grave of the Fireflies.
Like, I think what I've seen of Ghost in the Shell standalone complex show,
Yeah.
I've kind of liked, and I think I like it more than the film.
Oh, yeah.
Which is funny because, like, not the live action one.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the original.
Yeah.
It's because the live action one does exactly what I'm talking about, you know, and they just tell you what happens at the end. It's like, this is why this was significant, and I just kind of get bored with it.
Yeah.
And I can't really think of much off the top of my head, which is like, when I was like, oh, that was great.
Yeah.
There's a few that I've got which I haven't watched yet, which
Yeah.
like people have recommended me.
Still very, very rainy out there, sorry.
Yeah. There's one called Ergo Proxy, which I've got, which I haven't watched yet.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Which I've heard is really good, but...
So I don't watch shows. I watch shows that I know are just going to be... Oh, the one issue I really had was, you know, Bleach. You probably heard of these.
I've heard of Bleach.
You've heard of a lot of them, but you've probably heard of it. And like the hugest complaint I've had from multiple people who have watched Bleach, because it's a huge franchise. It's one of those,
it goes on for ages.
It's like Naruto. It's like Naruto, One Piece. A lot of them just go on forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got your really short ones like, I don't know, Death Note, which is considered a shorter series.
Or Hellsing, or...
Oh, Hellsing, yeah.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. Anyway, so... what happened?
I liked Hellsing.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
What happened in Bleach was that, you know, it starts off and it's actually really cool. It's like, oh, this guy, he's got spiritual power, and he meets a Shinigami, which is like Japanese for Soul Reaper.
Yeah.
Or Grim Reaper.
I have a game that's called that, I believe.
Yeah.
And you play as one.
Yeah, and like, you know, he becomes one, and there's all these issues with him becoming one, and there's no real, like, they don't tell you what the ending's going to be. They just tell you, oh, okay, well, he accidentally becomes a Soul Reaper, which is pretty good, because it's pretty open-ended. There's no expectation of what's going to happen like other animes where...
That's kind of the point, though, so it can go on for ages.
Yeah, but, you know, it was quite good, because each season had its own problem, and there were scenes where it was simply just, oh, you know, he doesn't want this, but he has to be a Soul Reaper, and whatever. And there's good, decent build-up, and there's good story, and there's good characters. So it's all pretty decent. And then at one point, the anime pretty much catches up with the manga series. So they're like what Game of Thrones is happening with right now. So rather than just be like, okay, well, we're just going to either, you know, put on a hiatus, wait for the manga to finish and wrap up, or we're going to continue, we're going to speak to the original author. What they did was create another season, purely just filler. Just absolute filler. And it was the worst thing I've ever... it was just bizarre. It made no sense, had no connection to the original story. The first episode of that new season was previously, and then it would literally showed 10 minutes, so the episode's like 30 minutes or 24 minutes. It showed the first 10 minutes of what happened in the previous episode.
It was like 10 minutes of an episode, and then basically...
Yeah, and then it was 10 minutes of this really... But then at the very end, it's like, however, before we show you that, we must show you this. Literally, that's what the narrator said. And then it goes on to this really weird, like, you know, weird side story, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Okay. And like...
It had nothing to do with...
Nothing to do with anything. And like, I was really I stopped watching pretty much. I was like, no, I don't mind a filler episode here and then to break it up. Just kind of like, I know a lot of series do like literally mini episodes here and there just to kind of go, oh, you know, here's something that's not the norm.
I feel like but it's funny, then you get so like you said, Game of Thrones is in a similar situation. The difference was they had George R. R. Martin actually told them how it ends and what happens. Yeah. And even though you can tell it's different, the show feels different now because it's like they're kind of in uncharted ground. Yeah. Even, like he's obviously plotted it all out for them. This has to happen, this has to happen. And we have to reach this point at the end. Yeah. It's like how you get there can be a bit different. It already is a bit different from the books. But
the tone is different because obviously they don't have any references.
The tone of the show is the same. Yeah. It's the way that they're getting to certain points. Yeah. Like there's whole characters that have been like moved out of the... like who aren't in the show but are in the books. Yeah. Or like characters that they've like shoved together into one character. Yeah. Something like that. Like I've done a lot of that sort of stuff. But then there's also like you couldn't have everything in there. Yeah. It would take too long. Yeah. You'd have to have like 20 episodes a season instead of 10 and it would just take too long. And I know like some people complain and also one of the weirdest criticisms I've had of Game of Thrones is like people are saying they're starting to like be able to tell what's coming next kind of thing. And, like, you can, but that's because they're just like, oh, it's not surprising anymore. They're not killing as many people. I'm like, yeah, it's because, like, all the important ones are left.
Yeah.
It's like, some of them will die, definitely, but they'll be, like, next season.
Yeah, no.
We're not really in the third act yet. We've only just
started. We're
already
culled, like, 90% of the characters.
Yeah, there was a lot. Like,
you know what? The final season's just going to be all their graves and sand blowing. It's like one grave the first episode, second grave the next episode. That's going to be the last season. That's what it is.
But, I mean, it's like the same thing with Harry Potter as well. It's like when you've read the books and you watch the films and you go,
oh, there's so much
this
missing.
is missing. This is, but
well, you know,
you couldn't do it.
The thing with anime is literally if you have a manga and anime, they
just shove it on screen pretty much.
They just do it all. Like that's why I just don't. To be fair, I don't like series that last a long time because I feel like it's a big investment for a show that will go on and on and on and on and on. And like at the end of it, like when you finally reach that end point, it's like, wait, what was the first episode again?
I think it's funny because it's like I'm still kind of amazed that Game of Thrones exists.
Yeah.
In its form, and the reason being is because one, it was like the fact that they put money into it in the first place, knowing what they'd have to build it up to later, and how expensive that was going to be, and like how much of an investment it was going to be.
I don't think they knew how big it was going to get though.
Well, they hoped it was going to get big, I'm sure, because it had to.
Well, there was a lot of nudity. Well,
yeah, they did that. It's funny because there's a lot less now.
Yeah.
Like, it got less as the show went on because it's like, yeah, we don't have to rely on this anymore.
Yeah.
To bring people in. But the first season's obviously low budget, and you can tell. Even though it still sells everything on the screen, it's still, like, there's not really...
Not as shiny.
There's no battles or anything, and, like, it doesn't look quite as nice and all that sort of stuff. It still works, but it's like... The thing is, like... The book series started in the 90s. Like, the first book was A Game of Thrones, part of A Song of Ice and Fire is the whole story.
Yeah.
And then back, like, when... I believe when Martin first thought of the whole story, he envisioned it as 3 books, and now it's supposed to be, like, 7.
Oh, wonderful.
5 of them are out. There's still 2 left.
Yeah.
He's almost finished one. And then he's got to write another one. It takes him a long time.
Yeah. Well, they're big. They're very dense.
Yeah, they're very dense books. There's a lot in them. And what I think's interesting is, like, they started this show in 2010, and I believe the 5th book wasn't even that old at that point.
Yeah.
So there's still, like, 2 left, and it's been 7 years.
Wow.
And the next book isn't... Like, the 6th book still hasn't come out in 7 years.
7 years.
So it's like, they had to have known at some point, like, if they were going to keep going, because they did say, like, I think they contemplated, like, what would happen if we delayed it a year or something. And it's like, well, all the younger kids who are in it, they'd age a year. It starts to...
Watch it, yeah.
It all starts to add up, like, things go wrong.
Yeah.
But it's... I mean, you don't have that problem when you're making an anime, but it's still, like, how if we cut it off now and leave it for a year, how much interest is going to leave this show altogether? Well,
anime, like, I think this is where Japanese animation and, like, just normal Western films kind of deviate. Because not Western films, just Western shows, like Game of Thrones, House.
Yep.
I don't know what else we've watched. Whatever.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like lots of Western movies were made off like Japanese films, like.
But the way the shows work is like you have to keep going to build interest and keep the audience. If you don't keep going, then literally people are going to either stop watching or they're not going to be invested. A few shows like Attack on Titan, that I know. One Punch Man is okay, but a few anime shows I do know, they would literally, like, Attack on Titan, the first season came out, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and the second season just came out this year, and they still had the biggest following, and and it was because it was that good. And you get these fandoms, like these huge fandoms of people who just follow it, and they'll like watch again, and they'll just be like, we'll just wait for the next one. And I think it's because...
That's true, I've watched Game of Thrones like 4 times.
Yeah, but you don't get a lot of that with, like, let's say The Simpsons just suddenly just stopped making it. They're like, we're done.
Nobody would care at this point.
Yeah, well, let's just say... okay.
I think back when they made the movie, people gave a shit, but, like...
Yeah, well, I don't know what's a big animated... or what's it? Okay, let's say Big Bang. I know you don't like Big Bang Theory. Let's just use it as an example because it does have a large following of people who watch it.
The thing is like Big Bang Theory's never taken a year off or anything. Like
yeah,
that
exactly.
Because it's made to be basically mass produced.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
we've got to run this. We've got to have this content to fill a time slot.
Yeah.
And I think that if it's kind of different. It's like because that's a comedy, like a broad comedy sitcom thing. It's supposed to be in the same categories like Seinfeld and Friends and things like that. I mean, Seinfeld and Friends are better.
But like, if those shows just stopped, like people wouldn't. There is a good chance of people kind of next year just being like, I'm not gonna bother. Or like if they stop for 4 or 5 years.
If Big Bang Theory stopped for a year to go, we're going to take a break to come up with the next season, people probably wouldn't come back.
No, exactly.
They wouldn't miss it.
You know, if a show stopped for 4 or 5 years here, by the time they got back, it would be hard to kind of build up that kind of, the snowballing again. Whereas...
Well, it's like, you even change a cast member.
Oh, yeah.
2.5 Men. You change a cast member.
One cast member.
Although you change the cast member that everybody turned up to watch the show in the first place for. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, you don't get that with anime. You get, like, I went to, I've been to Japan a few times, but I originally went to Japan when I was 16, I think I was. I went on exchange for 2 weeks, and I went 1 week to a high school, and it was an all-girls high school. And I only had to mention, because I had to introduce myself. I said, hi, my name's Linda, I'm from this school. And
Pokemon?
No, not Pokemon. I only had to say One Piece.
Okay.
And all the girls in the class started screaming, like, "Oh my god!" Like full blown. They were just like, "Oh my god, it's so cool!" Like, and like they would like pull out their merchandise, like figurines, all this and like it's this huge industry that we don't have here, but they have it over there. It's humongous.
Well, it's animated.
Yeah,
but we've got Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but
Rick and Morty.
We have Rick and Morty, but if you let's say go into a classroom and say Rick and Morty.
I know people won't freak out and scream.
They won't freak out. They'll just be like, it's a good show. It's a good show. Yeah, I like it. But they wouldn't.
Talk about it for
these
20 minutes.
fans are like hardcore. I mean, to be fair, I think the personality, not necessarily.
Well, it's like go to like a convention.
Yeah, well, exactly. People
then you'll find all the freaks. Like,
yeah,
I say freaks.
Excuse me. I go to those conventions, but like I think it's. For people who don't enjoy anime, it's hard for them to understand why we love it so much. But then for those who do watch it, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it makes complete sense because when you watch the anime, it's not only just, I'm watching a show, it's funny, haha. It's like, I'm invested right now. I'm invested in the characters, I'm invested in the story. Like, these characters aren't just like animations. Like, I see things from their perspective.
I know what you're talking about, but I think people more watch it for the style than they do the substance because... The substance is pretty... Like, if it's good anyway. Yeah.
I think the thing that differs that from just traditional animation like we see, like Rick and Morty, is that... I mean, to be fair, Rick and Morty is very good.
Well, it's like... I actually liked One Punch Man. That's the other one I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I like the One Punch Man.
One Punch Man's hilarious.
But it's got a sense... But the reason why I liked it is because it was kind of a criticism of anime. It was kind of
it was definitely
satire.
It was very satirical,
on, like, the sort of shit you usually see in anime, and it's just, like, this guy who just...
Well, I think you've got two different sides of popular animation. So anime that we have. So one is like the Naruto.
But I think it's the commercial as opposed to the people who want to make something that's actually good. Like
I guess so, but it's also the guy who did it. He originally made it as just a joke, like this weird wacky character, and then it kind of blew up.
But he had something to say about it. You know what I mean? Like he had a thought in his head that was kind of original. He went, "Oh yeah. I could just make this thing and we'll see what happens." Like he wasn't. What I'm saying is he wasn't sitting down going, "This is how many years I could make money out of this." That's what I mean. Like, and I think Attack on Titan's probably the same.
Well,
I think the reason why that's got so much money behind it is because somebody saw the potential in it, obviously. But I don't think whoever came up with it was probably... Do you know how many... Like, the reason there's so many anime, but you can see so many replicas. Like, if you look at, let's say, Sword Art Online is actually funny because the history behind that is... that it was entered in a competition. They had I think a week or so to make up a story, make up a concept, blah blah blah, present it, and this guy won this competition. And then the reason why the girl was thrown in is because their romance is this huge thing. Like it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what type of anime it is. Most of the time there will always be some form of like they've got a
relationship. Very few you'll see even if they don't have it, the fans will always try and push it. So. He's been the guy who originally created Sword Art Online was actually highly criticized because people pushed for a relationship and then he was like, well, if that's what you want, fine, but I'm going to give it to you in the the shittiest possible way, which is just
I'm going to brush over it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, just going to like, okay, yeah, you're together, you're getting married, blah, 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 this, that. But I think there's like two different types of Japanese anime. I think there's like the ones that you enjoy, which is like One Punch Man, Death Note, Cowboy Bebop. That kind of, we're not here to make money. We just want to tell a story.
It's like that.
Obviously, they want to make money.
They want to make money, but they want to make something good as well.
Yeah, they want to make, and
I think,
those are like
the thing is, like, I don't see like people behind like Dragon Ball Z really caring about the quality. Like they care about the quality of the animation.
I think them, but I also think Dragon Ball is also for younger ages. I think.
Yeah, true.
I think people my age who watch it, which I do know there are people my age who watch it for the nostalgia more so. Just like when Sailor Moon Crystal came out, I really didn't like the artwork. I didn't like the it's the same characters, same storyline. But I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen everything. I watched the first 5 episodes and I'm like, this is not amazing. I don't know why people would watch this over the original.
I think what I'm saying is like with like Cowboy Bebop and with Cowboy Bebop and stuff like that, you get like there's actually a story that runs through the whole thing. Well, and there's not really, but I mean, like there's even though they like make merchandise and stuff about Cowboy Bebop, it's more like that's a reaction to how popular it is more than the idea itself. Because it's like Pokemon. I'm like, oh, you can sell Pikachu dolls.
Yeah,
like that's probably what they were thinking when they made it. Like when they were, you could sell a Pikachu, you could sell this.
I like the Pokemon game franchise more than I like the actual anime. I did like the first few seasons, like the one with Brock and Misty, and then after that I was a bit like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't
actually remember what the plot of any of it was. Like, but the thing is as well, like that,
it's simple. He wants to be a Pokemon master. That's it.
But like Pokemon's even got like a structure. It's like he turns up somewhere with his friends, and then there's something happening regarding Pokemon, and then they have a fight, and then Team Rocket turns up and fucks something up, and then they fly into the sky.
It's for kids.
No, but like lots of procedural shows have these. Like,
well, there's a lot of anime follows tropes.
And I think somebody's got a
people
problem.
think that anime is just like whatever's like someone gets to do whatever. I'm like, there are a lot of tropes that just.
I don't know. There's a lot of things that they go by, but the thing is, like the way that they resolve things is kind of weird sometimes.
Well, it's very ex machina.
Yes.
Like, Pikachu's not strong enough. Well, I guess he'll just learn a new move that makes him strong enough. Yeah. Have you seen you probably have never seen a Korean drama. Oh.
No. There's the cat again.
There's the cat. This one's a different cat. It's not Aries, it's Jade.
Yes.
Korean drama, the reason why I'm still not into Korean dramas is because I pretty much was just like, this is the same shit, just with a different filter plastered on top, different characters.
It's funny because I love Korean movies.
Korean movies are amazing. This is like, so Korean dramas were
they're so different from the dramas.
You know why though? They were made for mums who stayed at home and wanted to watch something. And literally the most stereotypical thing, it would be like a guy, a girl, and a girl will like a guy, and a guy will like a girl. She'll confess to him, he will direct her the first time. Yep. There's always like a kiss, an accidental kiss, or he'll accidentally see her in the bathroom naked or something. Like it will just be a very compromising position at the very beginning of the series.
I didn't know Friends was a Korean show.
No, but like this is what happens, and then there'll always be a scene where she's drunk and he's carrying her on his back, and then there's always there's a jealousy scene. There's always these certain things that they must hit, and it blows my mind how just this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Because I watched the first one.
But everybody's got that. Everywhere has got that thing.
Yeah, like exactly. But it's so blatantly like they don't care.
So I was talking to a friend of mine who came back from China. He went there for 18 months to like try and get some acting gigs and stuff, and he got a few things, and it's like China's come a long way in terms of like its production value, but its screenwriting's still awful. Because like the thing is as well, it's like it's like, why do you like a Jackie Chan movie? It's not really because of the story. Like the story's usually fine, but it's because he's fantastic at putting his life at risk for the film, and his team's really good at taking hits and stuff like that. Really good. And it's like, why do you like a John Woo movie? Because there's all this. I mean, John Woo movies are made a bit better than your average film, which is why he ended up going to America. But he made like what I still consider to be the best action film I've ever seen, which is Hard Boiled. It goes for like 2 and a bit hours, I think, and there's like a 45-minute shootout in it, and it's insane. Okay. And it's all done practically. There's like obviously no CGI back then, like when they were making it. It's nuts. Yeah. And I don't know how you could coordinate something so complicated half the time.
Yeah.
the story is actually pretty good considering.
But the action's where it shines.
But the action's where it shines,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, younger Chow Yun-fat and Tony Leung and stuff like that. Like, and but what I'm saying is like other films like unlike that, like the plot is really
simple. Basic.
It's not that it's like I don't mind a simple plot, but it's more the fact that the way it's done is like the characters will just express everything through their dialogue.
Oh yeah,
because. And this is like him saying as well, he goes like, the mainland Chinese just don't get it otherwise, like they just...
No, because...
they just go...
You have to think about culturally as well.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean,
yeah,
like,
well,
it's a cultural thing.
I know from my family and my culture, because I'm Chinese, Chinese people are very direct. Very direct. Like,
Did you say
there's
Japanese?
no... Chinese.
Chinese.
I said Chinese.
You're Japanese.
No.
I know you're Chinese, but I thought you said you were
No,
Japanese.
no, I'm full-blown... I'm like Chinese as fuck. But like seriously, we're very this is just from my experience. I mean, you could disagree with me, that's fine. But we're very direct. Like honestly, you know, once I said to my mum, I came in full blown like sarcastic as fuck. I was just like, "Oh my god, mum, I'm pregnant." Like
why would you do that?
In that exact voice. I wasn't even like, "Mum, I'm pregnant." I was like, "Oh, mum, I'm pregnant. Oh god," and she was just like, oh, "Are you kidding me?" And she was 100% believed me. Like, and I wasn't. I was like, "Mom, I'm fucking kidding." Like, God damn it. And she's like, "Oh, why would you trick me like that?" So they have no, like, you know, like British people have a lot of concept of sarcasm. There's a lot of sarcastic humor in them. China is like,
you can't be responsible for Monty Python and not understand what
exactly.
Yeah.
But Chinese people are like, for me, from my experiences, are the complete opposite. Like, I went to China like 10 years ago, but I went shopping once. And I was with my mum and we were looking around, blah, blah, blah. This lady comes up to me and she's like, "Do you want a bag?" And I'm like, no, I'm fine. She's like, "You're a pretty girl. You look better with this bag." And I'm like, "I'm all right." And she's like, "Where's your mum? Go find your mum. She can buy this bag for you. Okay, if she's rich enough, she'll buy this bag." I'm like, "Oh my God." Like, you know, but you never get that here. No. But there it's like so direct.
You get a version of that here, but it's not so obvious.
Yeah, well, obviously they kind of, you know, play it down.
Oh, you have to talk about you first and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
you know, like the way
bag for sale
the way the girls here sell this is like, oh, you know, like I work in optics and I sell like glasses and stuff. I always go, "Oh, you know, that color's really suitable for you. It'll match your clothing." Blah, blah. I would never be, "Oh,
it sounds
that
more
frame
like normal conversation."
Yeah, that frame makes your nose look big. Don't wear that. I would never say that. I'd just be like, "Oh, no, I don't like that shape on you. I think a different shape would be nice." Like, you never really just be like, "That's fucking ugly." You know, whereas in China, that's exactly what... It's just so direct. Which, you know, on the positive, you'll never get someone lying to you. But then on the negative, it doesn't translate well to film, which I can understand, and in writing. And because you wouldn't... If you read Harry Potter and it was like, Harry had a fat day, I don't know. I don't know. If it was like Harry killed Voldemort, that was it. Like, that would literally
Harry
be...
Harry killed Voldemort at the end.
Yeah, pretty much that would be the story. Harry was the best. He killed Voldemort. The whole thing in one. Because there would be no kind of explanation, no kind of...
No, because, like,
you know,
this is one explanation for why big budget Hollywood movies are dumbed down even more than they used to be. Because it's like you get stuff like The Mummy, which is like they just talk the plot. It's like because they want to sell this in China. Yeah. Transformers, they want to sell this in China.
Transformers is big, humongous in China. Humongous. Everyone loves it because they're like, "Oh my God." Like, Chinese people don't like art. I wouldn't say film is artsy, but, you know, it's more of like looking at artistic stuff and creative stuff. Chinese people don't care for much of that. Like, if you present, let's say you presented a really artsy film. What's an artsy film that we know? What's that one? Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah.
Let's say you present that. That would just flop so badly in China. It just flopped because people would be like, "Why the fuck would they take drugs? That's so stupid. They should be studying."
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't... Literally, like, I'm not trying to be stereotypical or racist,
no.
but they would be like, "That's stupid. Why would someone even do that? I don't understand."
Yeah.
So that's why, like, Transformers is so big because it's all really just action and nonsense.
Yeah.
And they don't care. They're like, obviously, it's nonsense. We don't care. But it's like, oh, cool. Like, look, fireworks. I don't know. That's the main appeal.
It's funny that this friend who came back, he was... For a couple of days, he was on a film called Wolf Warrior 2, which has just come out in China, and it's the biggest...
I think we watched...
Well, yeah, I showed you the trailer.
You showed me the trailer.
It's the biggest box office success in China history or something like that, because it's pretty much a propaganda movie. It's basically just America abandons Africa and China saves it by fighting America, and that's it.
there was this one, it just reminds me of, there was this one, okay, so Chinese drama, I don't know how we got from anime to Chinese dramas, but I guess this podcast
we're in Asia.
Yeah, let's just talk about Asian film and animation. This is what it is now. This one, my mum loved watching it. I don't understand why. She watched it like 2-3 times. Pretty much, long story short is, Chinese dramas, there's a lot of dramas dating back to like certain periods, I guess you could say, like historical periods. It's a lot of historical.
I know China really likes that stuff.
Yeah, like the stuff when they're always wearing these really elaborate
that's
gowns
some of the
and
best stuff
headpieces.
in Chinese cinema, because of like, it doesn't really, to me, those movies is like telling the plot more obviously doesn't matter as much, because it's kind of folklore and it's kind of a bit like
Well, what I was trying to say was there's one pretty much where it's talking about a lady. She used to be a servant. She marries the prince. Prince dies, and she, as like a wife of his, the concubines and the wives all have to be buried with him to follow him to afterlife. So she literally just gets married to him. Like a day later, he passes away. She gets really upset. So one of her ex-servant friends, because she like alienates people. Apparently that's what you do when you get rich and fucking mighty. She like comes in and she's like, I'm gonna go save you, blah blah blah. And so they're running through these buildings. I don't even know how long I think this film is like an hour long. They're running through all these buildings, and for some bizarre reason they jump over this wall, and there's this pond, like there's this water. They don't tell you if it's if they're in an island or what, because I'm like, wait, aren't they like on land? There's no water near mainland China unless you're right on the edge, and Beijing and Shanghai and stuff, like they're all towards the middle, So I was like really confused, but they're just swimming. So they're swimming and they're like, oh my god, I can't swim well. And there's this huge dramatic like scene where they're like gasping for air, and then they like fall onto the beach and they're like standing they're side by side holding hands, and they're like, we made it. And it's so
is
stupid.
That the whole film?
That is literally the film.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. But my mum loves it, because she's like, oh my god, just how dramatic. And then she's like, this is how cruel life is, and I'm like, oh my god, this is absolute nonsense right now, but okay. But people love that shit.
Is it maybe because your mum's just like, yeah, I don't want to be in China either?
That's probably it. But like that's the stuff Chinese people, like I guess old people like my mum, not that my mum's old, but people from my mother's generation, that's what I should say.
That's what you should say.
That's what they like. They like weird stuff like that, whereas we like something probably with a bit more conflict, or something that just
like it depends.
It's a bit more.
I mean, there's a lot of types of films, but like
Ren, that was the plot of the film.
I know.
The end scene is them like zooming out, and then there's just water, and you're like, wait, was this kingdom floating on an island or some shit? I don't fucking know.
So there's absolutely no explanation.
There's just like, oh well, let's make it hard so it's dramatic. Put some water there, and then apparently they can't swim because they're in China.
Yeah,
I don't know. That makes no sense. But yeah, that's what happened.
Anyway, South Korean movies.
So do you know what scares me at South Korea in terms of their film industry? It's like the way they produce like actors and just, celebrities. Because, in America, it's like if you get lucky or if you're talented or something, like you get to become a celebrity. And it's very difficult. I'm not saying it's not difficult in South Korea, but in South Korea, they have schools for it. Like people will dedicate their lives just at the chance of becoming a Korean superstar.
How do they do that in America?
No, but like there's like schools, and
there's schools in America. Acting schools.
No, it's not just like. Well, in acting schools, it's kind of like, oh, if you don't make it, that's fine. You can do something else.
Yeah.
These people are like hard, and it's. There was this. I don't really remember the full controversy behind this. But there was this some Korean stars. They're not allowed to date. They're not allowed to be seen with men. They're not allowed to, because it ruins their image as a female. Because especially if they're like really they're the it girl.
Yeah.
It kind of ruins their image to be with a guy or to do something. This girl was caught with a guy. And essentially what they did was they shaved her head and made her apologize on camera to everyone. And it was very uncomfortable for me to watch because it was weird. But that's the type of like, it's not just, oh, you're a celebrity. And you know how like here, if let's say Britney Spears, she goes off the rails, she goes to jail, blah, blah.
Shaves her own head.
Shaves her own head. Like, that happens, and you're like, well, okay, she's just being a good person. She's being a human. Yeah.
Just
here,
like
you wouldn't be allowed to do that. As someone is monitoring all, like, your image, the way you are, what you do, you wouldn't be allowed to go off the rails. Like, they're not, when you become a superstar or a celebrity, you're not just a human, you're a product.
You know what's interesting about that, though? Like, celebrities are still products in America, but it's like if they go off the reservation, they just abandon them. They're just like, okay,
yeah, it's fine.
Go.
You go be your own human.
You go and ruin your owner for that. I'm going to go and help this other person.
Yeah, in Korea, it's not like
Korea, it's just like, oh, well, we've invested with you. We need to heal your image. We need to fix you.
Yeah, it's all it's way more.
I mean, they're
industrialized.
both weird, but
it's so more. I think the level of strictness or the pressure you placed under as soon as you get that image is so high and terrifying. Like I just couldn't. Because celebrities are celebrities. They go into film and they have a manager, but to a certain point, they're still allowed to live their own lives. They're allowed to go out and get McDonald's or something.
Exactly,
Koreans are no, you're not allowed to do certain things. You can only be seen in certain places. You can only do certain things. Like this is what I imagine, because I don't even know if that's 100% accurate, but like from what I've heard, it's very, very strict. Like there's just this whole
you couldn't be on a boat full of supermodels like DiCaprio is.
No,
sometimes
I can imagine like. If you were a guy or something, you wouldn't be, and you weren't allowed to be seen with a girl because it would ruin your reputation as like a bachelor or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be in the films where you're the single guy.
Yeah, exactly. Or especially if you're in a lot of Korean, there's Korean dramas, you would want to remain single predominantly. Or if you weren't single, you'd have to be only seen with a certain level of celebrity,
like somebody from the show.
Yeah,
that you're supposed to be involved in in the show. You've actually got to become the character.
Yeah, it freaks me out a little bit. Yeah. I guess
weird.
You don't get that in Japan or China. That's mainly just in South Korea. Because
I really hope the guy from Old Boy doesn't have that problem. You must be him for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
We're going to keep you in a hotel.
Oh my god. That must be tough. Tough. You have to sleep with your daughter. Oh my god. I just went there.
You have to be a serial killer sometimes.
Sometimes.
Movies like I Saw the Devil. It's funny because I haven't seen like a lot of I haven't seen like everything they have to offer, but all the ones I've seen, they're great. I haven't seen one now I'm like, oh, that was shit.
You've seen Train to Busan?
Yes,
yeah,
Busan.
That's probably my favorite one so far.
It's funny because I did like Train to Busan, but like in my opinion, it doesn't compare with some of their other movies. Like,
I don't.
Some of their other films I think are so much because Train to Busan is because I'm familiar with some of the movies. And it's like it's not that it's not good. It's really good. But some of the other Korean movies that they've got, they're so different.
Can I just say, like, the one thing that Japan does do in terms of film is horror films. Japanese horror films are fucking terrifying. Yeah. And do you know, the funniest thing is, every time someone talks about Japanese horror films, I think of that one time. I was 12 years old. 12 years old, okay? And my teacher, I'm pretty sure this was R-rated. It was an R-rated horror film. He showed one of those in class. And, one of my other friends, she loved it because she loves horror films. I was traumatized. I honestly, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, he showed that. I think it was called Snowy Mountain. It wasn't a long film. It was, I'd say, like 30-40 minutes. It was like a short.
More of a short, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a short film. Oh, it was freaking terrifying. He showed it, and like, I was like, oh my effing god. I think that's the only thing they do, because I think in horror films it's, well,
it's funny. It's
more
like,
about the scare.
Japan's got. I've seen a couple of Japanese films which I would classify as like more typical, but like they don't seem to be very common. Their horror films I know are very well respected. Yeah, and
The Grudge.
They've got like their action films which can go between like absolutely insane weirdness. Yeah, which just makes me go.
Japanese like comedy more. Like when they do certain action films, like
I was going to get to this point because it's like America and all that sort of stuff. Western world make exploitation movies, which are like gore fests or like just nudity or every 5 minutes or anything like that, or whatever else.
Swearing.
Yeah, swearing, vomit, violence, whatever. Just like, and they're like deliberately sort of in bad taste. Like they're mostly like just violence for violence sake or something like that. But it's like Japan makes them as well, but they're really cartoony and like kind of silly to the point where you start laughing.
Do you know what's funny is that around the time that Train to Busan came out, there was another film called I Am Hero that came out in Japan, which was a zombie film as well. And it was kind of like, I think, Japan's response to Train to Busan. Yeah. But the funny thing is that Train to Busan was very serious. It was like, oh my god, these people are stuck on a train. It's scary. Yeah, they're all going to die. And it's about this guy learning from being selfish to
being a father.
A father. Whereas I Am Heroes talks about this guy, so he's like,
Does he really want to get with the lady with the big jugs?
Well, not even that. So he breaks up with his girlfriend. So his girlfriend breaks up with him, and then he tries to get back together with her. And like he's kind of like this failed man. He has like he has no job, he has no money. He's living off his girlfriend. His girlfriend's had enough. She's breaking up with him, and it just talks about him going from a nobody to a somebody. But he's very funny. He's like, the very last scene is like. And it's also very dramatic, which kind of, speaking about anime and stuff, it's very dramatic. He's all like, at the very last scene, he's all like yelling, and it's like, I will protect you and all this stuff. Whereas in like Korean movies, it's less of, this guy showing off, and it's more of them growing as a person, which I think culturally, it just kind of, you look at the two different types of cultures.
Train to Busan is like, I think the Korean films are closer to Western.
Yeah, exactly. Japan's just more kind of like,
Japan's very much its own thing. In terms of its culture.
Well, Japanese culture is very, very unique
very
and
specific.
eclectic. Yeah. It's a kind of major...
That's funny, though, because...
I don't even know how to describe it, really.
It seems like South Korea makes movies that would, like, otherwise seem like exploitation movies, like, seem highbrow, and, like, the way they do them and what they're doing with those movies. I Saw the Devil is one of the most violent films I've ever seen.
Probably.
Like, it would be...
Asian films are very violent.
Like, it would be... Most, like, horror films that aren't even, like, that good would have violence that's nowhere near as effective as this film. Like, it's... Because it's not, like, so over the top that you kind of laugh at it because it looks silly.
Yeah.
Like, there's too much. Like, you're going, okay.
It's like Saw.
Like Saw, or, like, even, like, some of the, like, Romero zombie movies.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, like, traumatic violence or anything like that. It's more like, okay, this person's getting eaten now. It looks kind of cool, almost.
Like Attack on Titan, when people... okay, that's not that funny, but, like, yeah, I know what you mean.
But, like, they do that sort of thing, but it's like, I Saw the Devil's, like... It's like they know exactly what's going to, like, make you
uncomfortable.
Cringe and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, because it's more like, through the character's intentions, he does things that you can almost think, like, if you were in his position, you'd do that just to make somebody hurt or something. Because it's about... I Saw the Devil does really well the revenge story that most films try to do and don't do properly. Like, the usual revenge story in, like, a Western movie is like...
I think I Spit on Your Grave is a really weird...
I Spit on Your Grave is supposed to be like a feminist revenge movie.
It's really not.
Because she gets raped by a bunch of guys and then she goes after them and kills them.
It's really not a feminist film.
But it's like... It was just basically saying, let's put a woman in that position and, like, do the same thing that they do in all the other movies.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
the point is, like... The one that everybody sort of knows that, like, kind of started the craze is Death Wish with Charles Bronson. The first one is, like, a proper movie, and the other ones are all hilarious. But the basic concept of that is, like, he's an architect in New York, and then I think his wife and daughter, like, his daughter gets raped and ends up in an asylum or something, and his wife gets murdered all at the same time. And then he, like, snaps and goes off, and then he pretty much becomes a vigilante and, like, murders people and stuff. And that's, like, the story that everybody tells, and, like, they always, like, allude to this thing of, like, is he just as bad as them because he's doing pretty much what they did, but supposedly for good reasons. And, like, I Saw the Devil takes it to the next level. It's like... So it's the guy... I can never remember his name. The guy from Old Boy is this, basically, a nutcase murderer.
Wonderful.
And it's the guy from... He was actually in a couple of American movies, like Red 2, and I believe he was in the G.I. Joe movies.
I haven't seen those, I'm sorry.
No, I haven't seen the G.I. Joe movies, I just know he's in them.
Yeah.
And anyway, he's like some sort of government agent or whatever like that. He's off on some assignment, and it's like he's talking to his wife on the phone, she's coming home, like, on this road, and then it's like there's another car, I think... And then, it's like there's just a guy standing on the road. You can't see his face. It's like
from
the light goes up to about here, and then I can't remember what she's doing. And then he manages to get her out of the car and drag her away. Yeah, and he pretty much, like, just cuts her up.
Oh, wonderful!
Like, completely, and, like, they find the body, like, in pieces. Yeah, and the husband, of course, finds it on his assignment, sort of thing, as well. And then it's basically about him searching for who did it, but like in a very methodical, like, because he's got the expertise
John Wick
to do
way.
it. Not really, because John Wick, like, you're entirely behind him the whole film.
That's true. Is this like a very is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy?
That's pretty much really like, know. Yeah. It's like you absolutely hate the serial killer guy, and then it's like
this
now I
guy's
kind of
crazy,
don't
though.
like him either.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where you don't know who's worse, and you're like, when's this? Like, where does this end? Like, it doesn't really end well for anybody. It's like, because it's like every time he does something to punish him, he always leaves him alive on purpose because he wants to come back and do it again. Like, he's like, I'm never going to be done with you, sort of thing. And then he always pays for that as well, for like almost not killing him, because he'll go and he'll do something else to him in return. Like, he ends up, I think, finding his father or father-in-law or something like that, and he kills him too. Wonderful. And then the maybe the sister-in-law, he rapes and murders her, and then it's like it spirals down into this thing, and it's really well done. But
do you know what that reminds me of?
It's because you don't leave the film going, like in John Wick.
Yeah, well, do you know what? That reminds me of watching Death Note, because Light, technically Light, he's the protagonist and the antagonist, because you know he's doing all this. For those who's been living under a rock, haven't seen Death Note. Pretty much, this guy he finds a book. If you write their name in it, they die. Yep. And then he can write how they die, or like the whole time you're watching him. I know this. Like, I'm not a crazy person, I just want to say. But you're watching it, I'm going, damn, son, like, he's so clever. He's killed these people in such a... He's this... he's what, like 16? Yeah. Ridiculous, but, you know, he's incredibly intelligent. Mm-hmm. And then he's facing off against this other intelligent person called... His name is L, but you don't really find out his true identity. Actually, no, you don't ever find out his real name, I don't think. Or it's... Maybe you do, I don't remember. Either way, like, they're both... in terms of intelligence, the same, like kind of like Batman and Joker, two sides of the same coin, because they're both, you know, similar intelligence, similar way of thinking, but except Light's kind of like got this idea in his head. He's like, I've got to sacrifice my own being, my own soul to do the right thing and kill. And then even at the beginning, he kind of questions himself, going, am I the right person to decide that these people should die? And then he goes, you know what? I have to make that fucking sacrifice. I have to do it because I know I'm right. And then he starts just killing people. And, you know, and then, you know, and he uses these women, and he, you know, he'll manipulate certain people to do certain things. He even gets to a point where he sacrifices his own dad. So at one point you're watching this film and you're like, I don't know if you're the good guy. Well, you're not the good guy, but then, like, obviously because we're watching everything from your point of view, it's hard to not go, yay, go you.
It's like liking and hating people in Game of Thrones.
Literally, like, you love to hate him and you hate to love him. Like, because...
Like the character that I always bring up in Game of Thrones is Jaime. Because it's like at the start of the show, you're like, what a fucking dick. And then by this point in the show, I'm like, oh.
You're okay.
Like him.
You're okay.
No, he's cool.
But yeah, that's Light. Like, it's so... Because every other character, you know, they're good. And he's playing this double character. He's like, at one point, he's trying to help the investigation. But at the same time, because he's Kira, the killer, he's trying to withhold information. And it's really weird. And I'm watching this because, you know, I watched it maybe a while back. Originally, like, this was like a rewatch. And I'm watching it, I'm just like... And the very last scene, I don't want to ruin this for anyone, but the very last scene is he's gotten shot. He's caught out. He's gotten shot. And he's running, and there's this scene where he's running, and like there's the sun, you know, in the background, and then he collapses, and he's on this staircase, kind of like the staircase to heaven, kind of, you know, symbolism, and there's light going down in him, but then he gets reminded that people who use the Death Note can't go to heaven, and then like the sun's it's so symbolic, and there's a lot of it's like kind of religious kind of symbols throughout the whole thing. Like the whole thing, there's like a lot of crosses and a lot of gothic themes. But you know, he's just dying there, and he's like, okay, well, you know, I'm ready to die. I've done my deed, and then he just passes away, and you know, nothing really wraps up. You don't feel great watching it. You know, like you watch some anime like One Punch Man afterwards, you're like, oh, that's so good, that's so funny. You know, good on him, and then you know, you move on with your life. You watch this, and you're literally like, I don't know how I feel about anything anymore, because then you think about what it would be like if you were in that situation. And I'm like, would you do that? Like, would you? And then there's also this one section of the entire series where he loses his memory of the Death Note, just completely forgets about it, and he turns into this very genuinely likable character. He's very intelligent, he's helping solve the case, he's very lighthearted, he's very determined, and it kind of shows what would have happened if he never got the Death Note. And he's a very, very likable character, and then he gets the death back and he turns all crazy evil again. And so it kind of makes you go, do I like him? Do I not like him? Is he crazy? Is he not crazy? Am I crazy? What's going on?
Oh, it's funny.
How do I feel?
I like those films where they give you a bit more, because there's so many stories where it's like, oh, this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. And they're just outwardly good on one side and they're bad on the other. And like, obviously they have their dark moments, but they always come back. But I like some of the ones where they go a bit further.
Yeah.
There's a film that was really controversial in the 70s called Straw Dogs by a director called Sam Peckinpah, who became kind of infamous for his sort of films that would cause controversy in some way. Like, he made a film called The Wild Bunch, which was at the time considered to be like one of the most violent films ever made. It was a Western film.
Wonderful.
It was like basically a Western film about the... Shit, I can't remember which war it was.
One of the wars.
But like, not like World War One or Two. It was like, there's a massive battle scene at the end. It's just like people getting shot and blown up and like all this sort of stuff. I mean, by today's standards, pretty tame. Yeah. But like back then, it was like people were like
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I can't remember how many thousands of squibs they used. Sorry, not squids. Squibs. Squibs are the
dummy. The dummy
rounds of the impact of the bullets.
Yeah,
when they hit you.
Yeah,
I don't remember how many thousands of those they used, but there was a lot of them. But he made this film called Straw Dogs with Dustin Hoffman, which is about an American guy who goes back to his wife's English town, and it's pretty rough. And like all of the guys there are like miners and stuff. They're pretty. And he's like a American intellectual, you know, he's got the glasses and all that sort of stuff, and, you know,
the waistcoat.
Not so much the waistcoat, but, you know, he's like more like, he can't relate to them. He can't relate to them. And it's like, and it's a film about, like, he's a perfectly nice person, and it's like, the wife's got a history with a couple of, I think, one or two of the guys in the town or whatever, like, she used to go out with them or whatever. The controversial scene in the film is when she gets raped.
Wonderful.
Because what happens is halfway through the rape, it becomes consensual.
Oh.
Because it's like, does she really feel for her husband? Like, because he's not like a real man sort of thing. Okay. Like, he's not like them.
Okay.
Because they're kind of rough and very masculine and all sorts of stuff. And he's kind of like, kind of timid.
Oh, yeah.
And then what happens at the end of the film, they, like, attack the place. And he goes fucking nuts. Yeah. And pretty much kills most of them.
Wonderful.
And it's like, It's really good, though, because it's not like action film sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's more
internal,
downplayed. And it's more No, it's not like there's still violence and stuff, but it's not like over the top. It's like kind of realistic. Yeah. So it seems uncomfortable when you're watching it and stuff. So
any rape scene just makes me really... Like, even like...
Oh, it's uncomfortable, but it's supposed to be.
Yeah, well, like, all of it's uncomfortable. I'm just like, why do I want to see this? I don't even want to see regular sex scenes. Like, every time there's a regular sex scene, I'm like, I was watching that had like a weird sex scene in
Game of Thrones.
No, it was not Game of Thrones. Also, I don't know what else.
They used to like doing it in season 1 to get some exposition to you, so you had something to watch while somebody was explaining the plot to you.
Yeah. Well, either way, it was this one scene, and every time someone has like some form of sexual, or like even if they kiss, I'm like, oh, they're gonna make out. Oh, okay, they're making out. Oh, and he's putting his dick in her vagina. Like, literally, I have to expository it, or I can't deal with it.
You have to talk about it.
Yeah, I have to talk about it to make it less uncomfortable. I'm like, yep, This is just anatomy. It is nothing more. Oh, God. Because, you know, I feel like some shot... Oh, God. Actually, speaking of awkward sex scenes, like, watching... So, you know how I was talking about High School of the Dead?
Yeah.
There's, like, so many uncomfortable, like, very, very sexual scenes, and like I'm just like, I don't want to watch this. I like, you know, I'm all for rom-com kind of, you know, they're cute, and if they kiss, I'm like, okay, that's so cute. It's like, you know, two shapes merging together. But then there's like some scenes where it's like slow-mo boobs, like just like moving, and you're like, okay. And then it's because it's very obviously anime. It's all about, you know, women's bodies.
Yep.
Like, you'll never be like, oh, look here, look at a guy's... To be fair, Free is, like, full-on, like, male kind of...
What's Free?
Well, Free is, like... So, this is genre of anime where it focuses on sport. Like, just guys or girls playing sport. Right. Okay. The one I used to watch a lot was Prince of Tennis. That was, like, one of the first animes I ever... It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, honestly, I wouldn't recommend you watch it, because you would just laugh your head off and be like, I can't believe someone paid money to produce this. But it's a really big thing because, like, you know, they do, like, for example, I think there's one about basketball as well, and or baseball. There's
probably
all these
like
ones.
name your sport. There's probably one.
Yeah, there's probably one of them. Free is about swimming.
Yep.
So already, like, naked men, a lot of naked men. I watched the first episode and I was like, this is literally just like porn. This is just like male on male porn, because there's a lot of naked guys all swimming around in this big pool together. Like, I didn't find any interest in it because, I said, when I watch anime, I really don't look for that type of stuff. But like, a lot of girls loved it. Like, they died for it because back when I was on Tumblr. Oh, back in the day when I was 16 and on Tumblr. My every second post was free. And there was just these full-on, like, GIFs or GIFs, whatever you call them. Like, and it was just, like, these naked animated guys. And I'm like, this makes me uncomfortable. Like, okay, I guess this is it. Oh, yep, you're naked. Okay.
But what I don't understand is, like, is it censored in any sort of way, or is it just...
Japanese... Okay, that's the thing that confuses me, because so I watched this video. It popped up on my feed. I swear on my life.
Yep, let's go with that. Let's go with that.
No. Okay, so I watched this video on the history of tentacle porn. Like, it's purely
intern in the background with his
no. But like, it actually talked about like how why there's tentacle porn and how porn came to be in Japan, and why the differences between Western porn.
Because there's humans in Japan, and that's how it gets there.
Well, it's because no one can act in Japan apparently. So, anyways, so the idea of tentacle porn is that apparently male genitalia has to be censored out. I don't know why, but that's apparently a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then tentacles kind of replace that, and they don't have to censor that, so that's why they have that. So it confuses me, because in Japanese, you see, like, a lot of anime, like Sailor Moon and stuff, has been censored when it's been brought into the Western world. So, like, when it's dubbed, like 4Kids and stuff like that, they dub, like, Sailor Moon and Pokemon.
Yeah.
They've censored a lot more. Like, so there's this one very popular scene where Sailor Moon, she's in the bathtub and there's like a bit of cleavage there, and so what 4Kids did was pretty much color more water in so that it covered that cleavage. So this is what confuses me, because there's a lot of like cleavage, very borderline kind of pornographic stuff.
So it's not actually explicit stuff, it's just
like
in reference to...
Yeah, so it's very... But like, for example, when you're watching Free, there's a lot of like low ride, tight pants and lycra, not lycra, but swimwear, and there's a lot of naked scenes, but like, it's not porn. God, because there's no...
the Japan birth rates dropped off the
But like, there's a lot of that.
Of each other.
Yeah.
They pull it out and they're like, that's not what it looks like, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was pixelated.
Oh my god. Pixelated bukkake.
the best card in Cards Against Humanity.
Oh god. But so that's why I'm confused, because I'm like, wait, but why do that you're naked?
There's very strange standards then.
You really need to, like, High School of the Dead is so bizarre. Like, honestly, it's...
You know, the thing is as well, 90% of it's like schoolgirls and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all
so
like
they have to be like 15, 16.
Like I said, Sailor Moon was 14 technically, and she looked like... I don't even look like that now. I look like a 10-year-old. I mean, let's be honest, yeah.
Fair enough. So do I.
You do have a baby face.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, like, I don't know. I think you need...
Please don't say you need to watch Tentacle.
No, you don't need. You don't need to watch that.
Nobody needs to watch that.
I will link you to the video though. Like, it's actually a very interesting video because it talks about.
Look on his face.
It really is. Like, it's a very interesting video, and it's just talking about, because I think
why it exists, and
why it exists,
it was a
and
workaround.
Yeah, and how, and like, I'm someone who thinks, look, if you're into it, fine. You're not hurting anyone. I mean, unless it's child pornography, then yes, you're hurting people. Don't do that. But like, people who are into, like, tentacle, if you are into tentacle porn, like, you know what, like,
something wrong with you.
I don't think there's something wrong with someone. I mean, like, it's a fetish, a weird fetish.
If they see octopus and go, I'd like some of that. Is that what they do?
I don't even know.
No?
Like, Ren, how would I know? Don't. Email
us at no.
Don't.
Please
don't.
Oh,
I don't want to read that.
I don't want those emails.
But like, I'm a firm believer of, like, if you're into it, fine, you're into it. Like, you're not hurting people. it's just something that you're into. That's fine. Some people are into, there's like a thing where people are like into like food, like they're into having intercourse with food. It's like,
I've heard of people having intercourse whilst...
No, like people are into like getting all up in food, like a cake or something. It's really weird. I mean, not that it's not okay, it's just, to me, bizarre, but...
Okay.
That's a thing. So, like, I was like...
There's got to be a fetish, just like there is a phobia for everything.
Yeah, I think that's a thing. I think there's a fetish for... Well, if there's... God bless. If there's scat porn, there's got to be something that's, like, around.
Damn Germans, they created that, didn't they?
Anyways, I think that's where we should stop this conversation. We should stop this
that's
conversation right here.
Scat pornography, that's where we should end this.
I mean, what I was going to say was, I think it's not that you don't like anime. I think it's you need the right type of anime, because for me it's the same. Like,
I need anime that only resembles it in the animation form.
Yeah.
Not the story.
The thing is, like, there've been so many animes that I've started watching and then halfway through I just kind of go, no, I don't really like this.
That's what I've done, though.
Yeah.
I've tried to give it a shot and I'm like, no.
I think you just haven't found the right ones, because I think you'd enjoy Death Note and I think you would enjoy Attack on Titan. I don't think you'd enjoy, like, Naruto. I mean, I don't even enjoy Naruto. Sorry. Or, like, you wouldn't enjoy Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, or any of those really long ones, because I feel like you would just be like, this is fucking boring.
Yeah.
And it can be. I think it's... You're not like me, though, because, when I watch, like, Game of Thrones or something, I get really invested in them. Like, I go...
No, the thing is, like, you get invested for the whole hour and then you can't watch another episode for, like, a day.
Yeah, well, it's too much. It's too much.
Where I could just...
You can just go through. You can, like, detach yourself from it. Whereas, like, I watch Assassination Classroom and then the ending's really sad and I'm not going to ruin it. And it made me really upset, and then I had to sit in bed for, like, the next hour because I was really upset. It was a very sad anime. Okay. But yeah, like, it's like, I'm the, like, I read books and then after the book's done, I'm like, I don't know what to do with my life, and I have to sit down and, like, be a sausage for like 10 minutes.
A sausage?
But like, I have to be like a sack of potatoes because I have to like rethink my life. Like, things really, like, these types of things really affect me. People don't affect me. I don't care about people, just books and like films. So I think because you're less like that and more like, I'm going to watch it and yes, I'm interested in this, but then you can just like detach yourself from it. You're very like, okay, well, that's the film and I'm going to do
It's like you get emotionally
stuff.
invested and I just get invested in like the...
Yeah, you get invested in the story and everything. I get invested in like the people, the relationships, like, they're like my family. Like,
you're going to love the new relationship on Game of Thrones. Yes. You know who Tormund is? He's the ginger wildling.
My stomach's growling, sorry. No, I have no idea.
You know who Brienne is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been, like, cracking onto her.
Oh,
that's hilarious.
That's kind of cute.
Everybody loves that.
I love Brienne of Tarth. She's like one of my favorites.
Funny, it's like the thing that goes around at the moment is like back in last season. He's like next to her on a horse before they're all setting out, and it's like she looks over at him and he's like already staring at her like this, and then she's like, looking off. Into
I can imagine her, like her, because she's like her character's very
she's
stoic,
very like she's like a knight. She's a knight.
She's a knight. I don't have time for this nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cute. I love that. I really like Grey Worm and
what's her name? Missandei.
Missandei. Oh my god, my OTV. I have so many OTVs.
There's so many jokes from stuff that happened this season with them.
Well, because he doesn't have any of that stuff.
Somebody did like, they had shots of like leading up to the scene, and then it was just a picture of 2 pairs of scissors. Oh, it was great.
Oh my god. Anyways, okay.
Anyway,
we should.
There we go.
Yeah, how long have we been speaking for? Too long.
Yeah, it says right here, too long. Hour and 28 minutes.
Oh god. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think we should
end it there. This is just a general discussion episode, really.
I think we
because we just dropped the ball this last 2 weeks and didn't bother seeing anything.
No, well, we had Logan Lucky coming out, and then it was kind of like.
I wanted to see it, but I couldn't be bothered.
I really couldn't. I wasn't interested in it. Yeah, I wasn't interested in it. Well, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because like I said, Studio Ghibli, the animators, were going to come out with another film, and at the moment in the cinemas they're showing all the other separate films, which, to be fair, is a waste of money. Don't go bother seeing them. Don't even, because that's just a money like a money tip. But the reason I wanted to talk about that was because of that, but then I guess that didn't happen. I was also going to talk about Your Name or My Name or that one and The Sound of Silence, but Ren hasn't seen those. I
haven't seen them either.
So, you know.
I tried.
He tried.
But
I tried.
It just doesn't work.
But I think we should just generalize this podcast as anime film or Asian film.
Yeah,
and
just
whatever.
talking about general Asian film stuff.
Yeah. The other thing I have to say is next week we're going to do a live stream.
Yeah, we're going to try that.
We're going to do that kind of to fill in the gaps in between every podcast. And this will done, like, we won't be meeting up. We'll just be doing it over the computer. Because I finally have internet connection. Yes. I'm so happy. You don't seem that happy for me.
I'm very happy.
You're very happy. So we're going to be doing that. And so far it's going to be, my stomach keeps growling. I'm really hungry. So, it's going to be next Wednesday at 4 p.m. So hopefully, are we going to do?
I don't know what we're going to talk about yet. But...
No, I wasn't going to. Well, obviously, we're just going to talk about whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to be probably something like what we did today, except a bit more broader.
We might actually watch something between now and then.
Yeah. So that might be interesting. Other than that, yeah. Are we going to try it on like Google or YouTube? Is YouTube?
It's YouTube.
YouTube has a...
YouTube through Google Hangouts, pretty much. Okay. That's basically what
that sounds good. Yeah. Okay, well, I think we should end it there then.
Yeah.
Do you know any other... Oh, I know what's coming out. Kingsman's coming out end next month.
Yes.
Yes! I'm so excited! And then that's all I know, because that's all I care.
Yeah. I can't remember what else is coming out.
I have it written in my diary. Well, we'll find out next week then.
Yep, we will. Okay.
Okay. Bye.